Welcome back to the Jeremy Awakens Podcast. Today, I am excited to introduce a powerhouse guest, the one and only Adam Sosnick. And Adam is a financial expert, entrepreneur, and partner at Valuetainment. He's also the host of his own podcast called the Soscast, where he dives deep into everything from money and relationships to entrepreneurship and lifestyle. And with Adam's dynamic insights on building wealth and personal development, he has become a go-to voice for anyone looking to level up their finances and take 100% ownership of their life. And during this episode with Adam, we dive deep into topics that Adam hasn't really talked about much. Some stuff from childhood, some of the obstacles that he's overcome in his own journey. And I can't wait for you to just expand your mind and expand your bank account with this conversation with Adam Sosnick. Let's get it. I think the last time I saw you, potentially, your voice was a little fucked up from the vape.
It wasn't because of the vape. It was, I had a procedure. It was years of yelling in the club. And, you can throw some other extracurricular things that may or may not have been consumed, but it was, I'm back, baby. We're talking. Yeah, blowjobs? No, I don't. Thank God I don't do that anymore. We're done.
No judgment, bro. It's all love. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there is. If you're straight, that's probably not what you should be doing. But we actually had a funny thing on the podcast. Are we going? Pat was like, so, I'm Persian, Iranian, Assyrian, Armenian. Like, English is like my sixth language.
Yeah.
So when I learned that, like, the word gay, I always thought it meant happy.
Yeah.
But it meant something else. He's like, so Adam this morning, dude, he's as gay as ever. I'm like, yeah, thanks. He's like, just super gay. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you might think happy. Other people might think another thing, but this is, languages, there's barriers right here. And just goes on this like rant on the podcast. He's like, you think I would judge you if you were gay? I was like, thanks so much. And I'm going down this rabbit hole of pretending I'm gay for this bit right now. And with Pat, it was just, and then he sent it to all of us. It was just hilarious. But not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm batting 1,000% that 100% of the people I've had sexual intercourse with have had vaginas. Fun fact.
That's good.
All vaginas.
That's good.
No carnivore diet for me when it comes to sexual activity. But anyway, how are you?
I'm doing well. And I think that's actually a great place to start.
Yes, of course. It always is.
I'm curious to know because especially...
Are we doing an intro?
Nah.
Oh, just Jeremy's here. Okay, cool. Awakens.
No, we already did the intro before you got here.
Great. Hey, Adam, you may or may not be gay. Let's go.
So I'm curious to know, especially being in the presence of PBD all the time, right? And he's married. He has, I think, 4 kids. And he's always just talking about how amazing it is to be a father and be a dad. And you're in your early 40s now.
Yeah.
And
back issues too, bro. You wait till you get to my age, bro.
The low back, I know. And you're in an interesting space, I feel like, in your life, right? Because you continue creating momentum in your life. And I'm sure at some point you want to settle with a partner and start your family.
Yes,
right?
Preferably a woman, but yeah.
And it's an interesting landscape right now in 2024, dating in Miami when you're a public figure. So I'm just curious, like, what has that journey been like these last couple of years? And like, where do you feel like you're at with that now? Are you content with where you're at? Are you intentionally pursuing a path of finding your partner?
Yeah, well, great question to kick this whole thing off with. So what we're all solving for in life is clarity. Who do you want to be? Right? We're all just kind of going through life like, he's 18. Mike's, I don't know, he looks like he's 24, but he's probably 34. I don't know. There it is, spot on. But he's a mature dude. But as you grow up, you start to get clarity in like, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I want to do with my life? I'm in the camp where you got one life, bro. And who do you want to be? So it's all about clarity. So to answer that specifically, you know, I was briefly married in my early 30s when I was your age.
Okay.
From 32 to like 36. And it was what I would call a Miami club marriage. We met and lived, fell in love. She's British. Adam, I love you too, baby. You know, we had to kind of expedite the process, if you know what it means. But it was and basically I had a mulligan marriage where I tasted marriage for a few years, had a nice prenup because I was just starting to make real money at that time. Got in, got out, no kids, didn't have to give half my shit away. You know, divorced, shake hands, love you, good luck, she's remarried. But that gave me the ability to say, all right, most people that get married, you know, how many people get in, get out, you know, no kids, they don't get half their shit taken, you know, they're spiteful, they hate women now. There's like a whole movement called MGTOW, you ever heard of this? Or black pill, men going their own way, fuck women, I hate women. It's like, I love women.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty much my only vice, other than these amazing mushrooms. But now I'm solving for, all right, who do I want to be? So what are you 100% about? I'm 100% clear that I want to have kids and I want to have a family. Now, I'm not like 100% that I want to be married to the government and yada, yada, yada. You know, that would be ideal. But the biggest question that everyone has to ask themselves is, who do you want to be and when do you want to be it? Because I wasn't ready to be a proper husband, family man in my early 30s. Now that I'm in my early 40s, you know what it is? To give you the best analogy, we're all on this, on the highway of life, you know, or we're jumping out of a plane and we all have a parachute. Now, when do you pull the ripcord? Now, if you pull it too soon, you know, you pull it when you're 22, you get married, you have kids. Well, I've seen where that works out for most people. By the time you're 35, you've been married 10, 12, 15 years, you've got 2 kids, and all of a sudden you're 40 and like you're not exactly fulfilled. You've been married forever. You're like looking around and a lot of times you get divorced. You know, the divorce rates are 50% in this country, 67% on your second marriage, 75% on a third marriage. So, all right, if you pull it too late as a man, then you're the 60-year-old dude in the club. Nobody, you know, that's not. So for me, it's when do you pull the ripcord? And the beautiful thing about, you know, you said public figure, whatever, I don't look at it like that. I just look at it as like, you've earned status. Now, status comes in a few different ways, whether it's money, whether it's how you look. You know, this guy's a stud. He's taking his shirt off, doing all the Instagram posts. It's incredible. Your personality, your wisdom, what have you. But once you reach a certain status as a man, whether you're 35 or whether you're 55, you kind of have the best thing in life. The best thing in life is options. You know, when you reach to the point where you're 40 and you're a multimillionaire and whatever, you got your shit together, you kind of have the pick of the litter. Now, that only works for men. If women play that same momentum and they're 40 and they're multimillionaire, nobody gives a fuck. Because you would rather have the young hot girl a lot of times if you want to have a family, because you know, women are beauty objects and men are success objects. And I get that I guess that's controversial these days, but that's how we got here. But the reality is, I jumped out of the plane. Now I'm just kind of looking where to have this soft landing and who's going to be the woman to have the kids and the family and play their part. And I'm currently accepting resumes at Valuetainment.com. Check it out.
When you, I appreciate you sharing that. When you talk about options, right? I feel like options, there's a duality, right? There's obviously the pros of like, oh shit, there's an abundance of beauty, of women, of possibilities. And on the contrary, that can also be distracting.
Yes.
So I'm curious, what would you say are maybe the 3 core values that you really desire and crave in a life partner? And is one of those Jewish? Because that significantly narrows the pool.
Yeah. Being Jewish is not at the top of the list for me. It's not a negative, you know, but I'll give you sort of like the crude answer and then I'll give you the more beautiful answer. So the crude answer was, you know, model volleyball, Olivia, of course.
Yeah.
So she throws this big event every year. I go every year, just like models galore. Check that out if you're interested in beautiful people. and had the opportunity to interview literally my hero, Vince Vaughn. And hey, Adam, Vince, and Pat knew him. I was like, hey, we have a mutual friend, blah, 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 blah. And I go, Vince, I'm here out interviewing people about what they're, guys, what they're looking for in a woman, what they're looking for in a man. What's your advice? He kind of gives this kind of like, well, you should get along, kind of like vanilla answer, but it's Vince Vaughn. I'll take what I can get. Love that guy. And he goes, what about you? What do you think? I'm like, oh shit, Vince Vaughn is interviewing me now. And I go, first thing that came to mind, I go, head, heart, dick. He's like, what do you mean? I go, those are the three things. There's a man, like in your head, are you on the same wavelength? Do you same values and principles? Like what's going on with that? Like vision of life, heart, obviously you're solving for love. All we need is love. And, but sexuality and attractiveness and lust, is very important. Men are visual creatures. So you could show me the richest, coolest girl in the world. If she's fat and ugly, I'm good. Sorry. So there's those components. So the more beautiful political answer would be, there's outer beauty. Outer beauty as a woman will get you in the door, but inner beauty will keep you in the house, right? And then at the end of the day, what you should be solving for are values and principles that align. Dave Chappelle had a great thing back in the day when I used to do stand-up. I was just obsessed with Dave Chappelle. He's like, they say opposites attract. I don't know about that. He's like, you're going to church, he's doing crack. How's that going to work? So the values and principles definitely have to align. And then the last thing, if you're going to get married, this is probably the best advice I can possibly give anyone, as being 0 for 1 in marriage, having the mulligan marriage. There's a book called 101 Questions to Ask Before You Get Engaged. So it's all about setting expectations and not going in, getting married. And it's like, so we doing Christmas or Hanukkah? She's like, Hanukkah? I'm doing Christmas. And now you're discussing what to raise the kids or discussing where you want to live. Does she even want to have kids? So ask the tough questions up front, and then it will hopefully be a little smooth sailings after that. But if there's outer beauty, inner beauty, and values and principles align, and she happens to be Jewish, amazing. But if all those three check off, head, heart, dick, all that, but I do see myself raising my kids in the Jewish faith, though. I'll give you that.
Awesome. That's dope.
And I get if the mom's not Jewish, I get it. But listen, I don't know if we're going to get into religion, but I think a lot of it is man-made.
Yeah.
And you just, as long as you're a good person and do no harm, sort of the libertarian component of government, do your best not to do any harm.
Yeah, I'm curious to know for you. So for me, in regards to...
Yeah, I want to know this, because you were just in Israel, looked like you were falling in love with this girl, and then you're back here hanging out with the boys. What's going on?
So, yeah, man, it's a interesting experience, and I'm also very grateful because I learned a lot of lessons from everything.
Yeah.
Essentially, she lives in Romania.
Okay.
And I knew that going in.
You ever been to Romania?
Yeah, I was with her for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Bucharest? No, I wasn't in Bucharest. I was in
you should have said hi to my... Oh, beautiful town.
Cluj-Napoca.
Beautiful town. And you should have said hi to my buddy Tate while you were out there.
Yeah, we'll talk about Tate in a minute. He's not a big fan of the Jews, from what I hear.
Israel, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so no, that was an experience where all of the things that you mentioned, the head, the heart, the dick, were definitely all checked off.
What was the problem then?
I wouldn't say there's necessarily a problem. She's also, she's starting her spiritual path, and there's always a challenge as someone who's a coach. Like I've been coaching for 10 plus years, right?
Is that what you would call yourself, a spiritual coach?
No, I don't really like I don't like putting myself in a box.
What would you call yourself?
I mean, you could call me like a transformational guy, the fucking fun guy.
Like
yeah, you can.
Fun guy. I see what you did there. A little double entendre.
Anyways.
But I mean, you have to call yourself something.
Yeah.
You have to be known for something. You can't just be like, that guy does things.
People call me the microdosing mentor.
All right.
Anyways, what I was going to say regarding that, okay, is part of one of my unique skills is identifying people's potential, right? And this has happened in the past when dating people, is like, I'll see how special they are and the potential power that they can step into. And on the other side of that, I almost make it like my mission, my role to like help them fully activate that.
Girls you're dating or everybody? People you're working with?
Not everyone, but like if
you're working with?
Yeah, like I'm very attracted to girls who are like artistic, creative. They're fully in their feminine energy. Like for me, those are important.
Yeah.
And like as someone who's kind of been on my own journey, I've made a lot of mistakes, learned a lot of lessons, and I feel like I'm in position to kind of help the people close to me on their journey, like fully stepping into their truth, like speaking up, not suppressing their power, right? So for me, like I saw that so much in this person. Like she has such a bright light and a beautiful essence about her. And, you know, at the end of August, she went back to Romania. I finished my time in Italy at my boy's wedding and then came back to Miami. And I felt just like a little distance in our communication. And when we spoke, I was able to really reflect on the time we had.
Yeah.
And I feel like, especially the last month we were together, there were some missed opportunities to just go deeper, like really go deeper on a soul spiritual level. And we had the moments where we connected in a very beautiful way in all types of facets. Like
girls must love how deep you are.
I mean, I think
I'm not the deepest guy, bro.
no, I know you're not.
At least vocally. I don't like internally, I can go pretty deep, but like your vibe is not something that I'm that comes naturally to me.
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, there's a lot of fucking beautiful people in the world.
Yeah.
And for me, like I need to be able to like connect in a more meaningful way, because what I realized in this process was at the end of the day, I think all humans crave a couple things. We want to be fully seen, like we want to be understood. We want to be able, we also want to be able to feel safe expressing our most authentic self. Like I want to be able to share with you my truths without feeling like you're judging me. And
I fully disagree.
So anyways,
but we'll get on that.
Long story short, we just had, I wouldn't even say like things ended in very civil, good, loving way.
Yeah.
And I feel like just at this moment of our life, we kind of recognize like you're on your journey right now and I'm doing my thing right now. Yeah. And like maybe we reconnect in the near future.
Of course. Or maybe we don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you.
Yeah.
How old was she?
24.
Okay, so you're 34.
I just turned perfect. 34, yeah.
When was your birthday?
September 10th. Virgo energy. You?
February.
You're a big horoscope guy,
Are you a big
You're a big astrology guy, Adam.
Me?
Yeah, I can see.
No, PBD is though.
Yeah.
It's Pat's birthday. Is today the 18th? 19th. So it was yesterday. He's a Libra. He's all about the astrology. I'm not astrology at all. I do love the moon though. Let me ask you something.
Let's go.
So the girl that you were just with, we don't need to name her name.
I feel like Adam's gonna low key like slide in our DMs.
No, that's not my move at all. Once my boy's been with something, I'm out.
It's all good. Bro.
But I have been talking to her lately, so it's okay. Just kidding. Just kidding. Would you, you know the song that goes, owner of a lonely heart, owner of much better than a broken heart. Anyone here? 80s?
No, you're fucking old, bro.
Okay, you don't know the, lose yourself, you want, how do you not know this song? I mean, okay. Would you rather be the owner of a lonely heart or the owner of a broken heart?
I would say I think a broken heart, because like at the end of the day, love is one of the most vulnerable things, right? Mm-hmm. Because like I have a tattoo right here that says ahava.
Let me see.
Ahava.
Yep, I can confirm. It does say ahava. No vowels though, but
ahava, which means to love.
Really?
And the root of this word is hav, which means to give.
Yeah.
Right. So to love is to give. To love is to give all of yourself to this other person.
Yeah.
Right. Your presence, your commitment, your devotion, etc. That's fucking vulnerable as fuck, bro. Like as masculine men, one of the scariest things to do is actually like open ourselves up more in an emotional way to a woman and like potentially put ourselves in position to have our heart broken. And what's the alternative? To fucking be closed off and surface level and never actually take that chance. So I much rather put myself in a position to really wear my heart on my sleeve, communicate my love, like my truth, my authenticity. And if things don't work out, I try my best not to be attached to the outcome and just know like, hey, I did everything I could to make that work. Right? Like same shit if you're building a business or whatever. It's like, all right, I'm going to take all the actions necessary. And at the end of the day, there's some things that are out of our control.
Yeah.
And it's like surrendering to those.
Interesting. Yeah, we are the reason I like talking to you is we are not built the same. So I'm learning from you because I don't think I ever even used the word vulnerable in my life. I don't want to be vulnerable. It's very, the girls probably fall in love with you very easily because of your energy. I'm like, let me just pay for all your stuff and you're moving it with me. They're like, okay, great.
I do that shit too, baby.
But so you're in the camp of better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. And I'm with you on that because that's actually a big thing, being vulnerable, falling in love, all that, because you know the movie Bronx Tale, Chaz Palminteri. I mean, this kid's, yeah. I had the opportunity to interview Chaz. It was incredible because I used to write down every day for years, every day I would have a to-do list. And it was a line in the movie and it says, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. And I meet Chaz, but in the movie, they goes, you get 3 loves. You get 3 loves in your life. You only get 3, so don't strike out kind of a thing. So it's interesting, speaking of love, I'm going to be vulnerable now. I've had my 3. And now it's, I'm fully convinced there'll be a 4th. I'm not worried. But the 3rd one fucked me up. And I'll tell you why. Because, they say that a man plans and God laughs, right? So my first, I guess, official love was the girl I dated all throughout college. Completely somehow dated like the hottest girl at FSU. Even all my friends are like, dude, I have no clue how you pulled that, but like, good work. I'm like, I have no clue how I did it either, bro. And then the second one was so I was in my, early 20s, college. Second love was the girl I married. And then the 3rd love was in my late 30s. And I meet this girl. I'm like, all right, I've been around the block, Now I know what I'm solving for. I know where I'm at, values, principles, head, heart, dick, this, that. Meet this girl. She's from Detroit, Michigan. My dad's from Detroit. Let's go. I imported her from Detroit into Miami where everything's great. Falling in love. All of a sudden, she's getting sick. What's wrong? I don't know. I got a cold. My back hurts, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's get tested. Let's see what's going on. Boom. You have cancer.
What?
July 4th, 2019. Bang. Like all of a sudden, this gorgeous girl is now up in Ann Arbor going through chemo treatment, loses her hair. I'm there for her. I'm like, this is life. This is crazy. And as fate would have it, that October, so July, August, so 3 months later, boom, my dad dies. The fuck? Out of nowhere, right? So I'm just getting punched in the stomach, punched in the gut, punched in the heart. And on top of that, now it's Thanksgiving. I'm just going through it. I'm supposed to go up to see my girl for Thanksgiving. I'm going up every, few weeks, month, whatever, to like be there. Hey, don't come up for Thanksgiving. I'm like, well, what's wrong? She's basically breaks up with me. I'm like, you're breaking up with me? She's like, yeah, you don't want this. Like, you don't want what I'm going through. I'm like, no, I have to. Like, I love you. Like, I want to be there for you. You don't want any part of this. Like what I'm going through, so December of 2019, I'm in the worst state of existence in my life. I've never had depression in my life. I've never like just uncontrollably cried in my life. I'm going through it. And I mean, look, masculinity or not, if you can't have empathy and cry and feel some type of way when your girl and your dad, dad dies, girl's got cancer, then you've got check your pulse. And at this time, I'm speaking with Patrick Bet-David, and he's like, man, because we'd known each other for years. He's like, well, what can I do? How can I help? What is going on? I was like, I don't know. I just need to get out of Miami because I'm just like in the mix here and I don't know like what I'm doing. And then we're planning it out. Boom, COVID happens, right? While we're kind of strategizing all this. And I said to myself on New Year's Eve, Adrian, our mutual friend, he called me on New Year's. He goes, what's up? What are we doing for New Year's? I was like, no, nothing, bro. I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it. And he's like, what do you mean? It's fucking New Year's, Miami. We're going out. I'm like, no. Came to my house, like threw my ass in the shower, like smacked me in the face, like Cher with Nicolas Cage in that movie. Snap out of it. Boom. Midnight 2020. I snapped out of it. I'm like, all right, I'm not 2020. I'm going to be positive. It can't get worse than 2019. We know what happened in 2020 COVID, but I was just so positive during 2020 that I was not going to let anything stop me. And that's when I moved to Dallas to team up with PBD. We've been going on this, that's almost 5 years now, this 5-year run, started the podcast, had some meaning, purpose, I'm always been a team player, so now I'm part of a team. And now I find myself to kind of circle back, 43 years old, and made my money, have my connections, have my people, and now I'm just open to figuring out that next chapter of life. But, someone said being resilient, someone used a word about like grit. So I say, I have a phrase called CPR, consistent, persistent, resilient. And that will bring you back to life. If you ever running into some shit, because what does the Buddhist say? You would probably know this, 70% of life is suffering. And then, the other 30% is finding meaning in the suffering. Life is tough. They say that life is short. No, life is long. People are living to 100 these days, right? But life is precious. And just like that, it could be gone. So you have to just keep in mind that life is precious. It can be gone at any moment. And what are you solving for? And then when life punches you in the stomach and your girl gets cancer, or your dad dies, or girl breaks up with you, whatever, you just got to have CPR and consistent, persistent, resilient, and keep going, bro. What does Muhammad Ali say, or the famous phrase, fall down 10 times, get up 11. And that's what life is, bro. So we're looking for the next chapter right now.
Damn, dude. Yeah. That's some really powerful shit. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. This is me being vulnerable with you.
Wow. Yeah. How did it feel to share that?
No, it's part of the journey. So it is what it is.
I'm curious to know, when you're going through that rock bottom period at the end of 2019, what were some of the things that you did to help you on that healing journey? Did you find yourself like numbing some of the emotions? Because that's a very common defense mechanism, is like, hey, I'm going through
numbing emotions mean?
Well, I'm going through this really challenging shit, whether it's a breakup, whether it's the loss of a loved one. All right, like, I'm just going to distract myself from actually fully feeling the sadness and pain.
No. You got to ride it out. If you suppress it, it's just going to come back at some point. So what's crazy, it's so funny. I'm tell this story. So this girl, the girl, she, by the way, she's better now. She's okay. So she moves down Miami. She doesn't have a lot of friends here. She's a model. She's, doing the, modeling is pretty fickle. She's like, I want to get a dog. I was like, I'm traveling like crazy. I'm moving, I'm grooving. I don't got time for a dog.
Yeah.
She's like, then we're going to get a cat. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get a cat. Unbelievable. So we go to the Miami, animal shelter over here, and we're going to go get this cat, right? So I haven't had an animal to take care of since I was a freaking kid, right? I lost my dog, cried like crazy when I was 12 years old, and just haven't had the responsibility of that. So we go to get the cat, the one we wanted, and as fate would have it, it's in a little cage with like a twin cat. It's a brother and a sister. She's like, oh my God, they're so cute. Can we get both of them? I'm like, now we're getting 2 cats? No. And almost like, you ever see Billy Madison? Of course. You've seen this movie? You remember the guy that's like mopping? He's like, you want some milk? He's like, I'd rather have a beer, like that phrase. Yeah. So there's a janitor. He's like, oh, by the way, it's buy one, get one on the cats. Just like, I'm like, thanks, janitor. So I was like, I don't want 2 cats, but the Jew in me loves a BOGO. So buy one, get one. I was like, I don't know. Like, you could offer me a kick in the nuts right now, buy one, get one. I was like, I don't want a kick in the nuts, but if the second one is free.
Yeah.
So we end up getting the 2 cats.
Yeah.
And I tell the girl almost jokingly, I say, I already know what's going to happen here. One day you're young, you're hot, you're going to get sick of me, you're going to fucking run off, and you're going to stick me with 2 cats, and I'm going to be the gay dude with 2 cats. And she's like, no, I would never, So, what happened to her, obviously got sick and what have you. So I've been stuck with the cats. But in that moment, you asked about lowest point and healing. Dude, I'm sitting in my bed. And, that whole summer is, the bookends between my girl getting cancer, my dad dying, and I'm just sitting in bed, and all of a sudden I'm like, what are these things that are coming out of my eyes? What is this wetness? Like, just uncontrollably crying. And the 2 cats, they talk about, what the animals they call, like, when they help you emotional support animals, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Whatever. So it's real. The cats are purring and loving, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is it. So when a girl brings a chihuahua on a plane, it's my support animal. Okay, whatever. But there is some truth to that. So, dude, cathartic, the most cathartic moment of my life. What's the definition of cathartic? When you just like let it all out, right? Would have been, my dad died October 10th, 2019. So what is it?
That's like 5
18th?
years.
So this a week ago. It was just a 5-year anniversary. I didn't know. Me and my dad had the most contentious relationship for a father and son, maybe ever. Because my dad was born with cerebral palsy. You know what that is? And so it affected his sort of like, his systems, his movement, neurological, but smart as hell. Smart, like almost like Rain Man-esque smart. Big guy, 6'2", bigger than me, good looking guy. He looked like Phil Jackson, the coach, Lakers and the Bulls. But he was, how me, like I joke, whatever, like it's fun personality, very similar personality. But if you said something like, oh, your back to her, he's like, what the fuck you say? Huh? And would just smack you. Like that, me, I'm like, well, I didn't make a joke. So my dad was raised in Detroit, and my grandma said, if someone makes fun of you, you punch them right in the face. So that was my dad's DNA. So my dad, who I'm grateful for, thankful for, this guy would beat the shit out of me, to put it lightly. And dude, I was all counting in football and basketball because I had moves, bro. I'm running away from dad all the time. But we would get by the time I was in high school, I was like, yo, I'm sick of getting my fucking ass whooped. Well, if he comes again, I'm gonna fucking sock this dude, man. And one time he cornered me in like our little like laundry room. And it was always something fickle that turned into something bigger. And, whose fault is it? The son, the dad, why are we even fighting? And then I realized like what father and son actually fight. A lot of it is on him. And he kind of had me cornered. I turned around, bam, punched my dad. And all of a sudden, 15, 16 years old, I'm scrapping with my dad on the regular. Crazy. And we're, in college, I'm like, I'm done with you. I'm never talking to you. Like once you get out of the house, we're having when I tell you, the living in my household was insane because my dad was also a disabled businessman who only hired people with disabilities. He had a very empathetic soul, right? So he hired all these, back in the day, we'd call them R words. I don't want to get canceled over here. Now they're whatever you call, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, retard. But they were not the smartest guys in the room. Let's just put it that way. And I would, in my house, I have this abusive father, I have this loving mother who's just like, ignorance is bliss. My sister who's just like living in la la land half the time, and a bunch of retards hanging out in the house. And it's just like, that's why I got to stand-up comedy. I'm like, you can't make this shit up. So to circle back, I just did a Trump thing. We just had Trump on like 2 days ago. He calls it the weave. He's like, I call it the weave. I start here talking about cathartic. Now my dad whipped my ass, but here we're back. So a couple days later, because after, in Judaism, when someone dies, you have to bury them in like 24, 48 hours, right?
Yeah.
So we're planning the funeral, boom, boom, boom. I'm kind of numb. I'm dealing with my girl, cancer, my dad, everything. And I give the eulogy at my dad's funeral. And I'm like, I'm going to let it rip. And all my friends there, you talked about, it's crazy. Oh, you're still friends with all these people. I grew up there. I grew up 15 minutes north of here. And dude, people are crying. People are laughing. They're like, just the crowd. I'm just like using this moment. I'm doing stand-up comedy. I'm doing psychology. I'm doing just public speaking, catharsis, like everything. I'm just get it all out. And all my friends knew my dad, and they're like, Adam has the funniest, craziest psychopath dad ever. They all know him. He's tried to kick all their asses one time or another, literally. And my grandma's like, everyone's there, and people are crying and they're laughing. And I swear to God, Jeremy, as soon as I got off stage, I was free. I felt so good. Now it doesn't even, the weight of my dad, the drama and the fighting, and it's my dad and I love him, and the tradition and kids, and there's good and the bad. So you ask the question, is it better to suppress or let it all out? I would say, based on my experience, get it all in and let it all out and live your life. If you bury stuff, could you imagine if 5 years later I'm still like, me and my dad didn't have a great relationship? Like, nobody wants to hear that shit. Deal with it, embrace it, and confront it, and let it out, and have that cathartic moment, and it'll liberate you.
Appreciate you, brother. So, oh man, that's fucking wild. One of the books that PBD references a lot is Power versus Force.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And I've been reading it for the second time.
Really?
Currently, right now, yeah. And it talks about, obviously, like the map of consciousness.
Yeah.
And we know that one of the lowest frequencies and vibrations we can operate from is guilt and shame.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, now it sounds like you're just fully at peace with that whole
I'm going to pull it up right here so I have it. But okay, yeah.
So I'm just curious, like, was that something that you did experience? Did you experience any feelings of guilt for like not having the best relationship with your dad, or like things that you said or fights that you had? Like when he passed, did any of those feelings of guilt come to the surface?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's one. So I'm looking at the map of consciousness right now. I don't know if you can see it, but this is actually amazing. And it walks you through, it's basically like sort of 20 different categories of where you can be in life. And the middle bar across is courage. So that's the difference between being in the force, being forced to do something, or the power. The high road and the low road is what they call it. So on the bottom is shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. And then where it crosses over is courage. Do you have the courage to make a change? Do you have a courage to do something different in your life? And then once you have the courage to do that, you go back to neutrality. All right, we're just going to start with a blank canvas at this point. And then the high road, the upward trend, the power is neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. I would say that I'm in sort of the reason, love, try to get to joy, love component. I'm not fully at peace, and I've definitely not reached enlightenment, but I've dealt with all the the fear and the desire and the anger and the pride and the courage and the neutrality and the willingness and the acceptance, a lot of it kind of came when I joined PBD. And, everyone needs a mentor and everyone needs a leader. And I was sort of a wayward guy where it's like, nah, dude, I made it, bro. I'm 25. I'm a broke ass party boy in South Beach. 35, I'm a millionaire. I made it. Right. But I didn't have like that next person that I could be, rely on, a mentor. Everyone needs a mentor. And for me, it was PBD. And I'm very lucky at that because the guy literally has millions and millions and millions of people that beg him to be the mentor. And I'm the guy. It's like, so where I'm at right now is I've been completely reasonable. I'm radically open-minded. I don't think I know it all. I think I have conviction and I think I know a good amount of things, but I'm radically open to hearing people's perspective. And there's a lot of clarity of who I am and what my skill sets are. And, you asked what about my dad?
I was just asking if you experienced a lot of feelings of guilt and shame following that.
So yeah, before my dad died, the contentiousness, we already talked about that. I did something that I'd never done, ever done. And that was I blocked my dad on the phone. And I would say, Dad, stop calling me every freaking day. I'm at work. Like, you're calling at all different times. You're leaving crazy messages. Like, I'll hit you back, or, you can text me, like, whatever it is. Like, if I'm in a meeting, I can't, he's like, fucking call me back. What do you think you are? Like, crazy messages. Like, I'm going to tell like, just threatening me. And I'm like, and I was just like, I can't do this. Like, and I blocked him for the first time in my life. Because I would usually just like, I can't deal with this right now. I would listen to the voicemail. You fucking call me back, whatever. And then the next message would be like, I'm your father, call me back. And then, fuck you. I was like, dude, I can't live like this. Plus, I'm dealing with my girl who's like going through chemo. I'm like, I can't deal with you right now, dude.
Yeah.
And I blocked him. And I had all these missed voicemails and calls. So then when my mom called me and she goes, your father died. I was like, what? I wasn't even speaking with him. So I had massive guilt around that. Again, it was 5 years ago, and we know we just went through Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. So it's the Jewish holidays. He's leaving me voicemails. What are you doing for the holidays? He had this very like rough, deep voice, grumbly, gravelly. Oh, call me back right now. I was like, oh God. So that fucked me up, but I blocked him for a reason. So that's something that I'll have to live with, that, in my dad's last days, I didn't even speak with him. But again, that moment of getting on the on stage delivering a eulogy was incredibly powerful. If you've never delivered a eulogy for someone close to you or a parent, it's a freaking roller coaster of emotions, bro. They say, Seinfeld has a joke. He goes, the number one fear in life is public speaking. The number two fear, death. So that means you'd rather be in the casket than the one delivering the eulogy, right? What's the deal? So as a former comedian and all that, I embraced that. And, in Judaism, you're not supposed to see the dead body. That's not a thing. Like an open casket, and I think in Catholicism, that's kind of like the thing, right? And then the rabbi was kind of offering some words of healing, and I said, "Can I take a look?" And they were like, "Well, we don't really. It's up to you." I go, "Yeah, I wanna see the guy." And they open it. I have the picture on my phone. I look at it time to time, and there he is, my dead father. And it was like, whoa. And he looked good, man. He looked good. They kind of did him right. Those makeup guys at the funeral home, they really earned their keep. But he had his little goatee thing, and he was doing his thing. He was buried in a nice suit. But the one thing I had for my dad, this was his necklace. And, you rock that big Jewish star, bro. My dad had two, what is it, a medallion ornament that you put on? He had two things. It was crazy. It was a Jewish star and a Miami Heat logo. He loved the Heat. We'd go. That was always our thing. Going to like Heat games or like, you know, watching sports. He's a Detroit guy, so the Pistons, Wolverines. He would have freaked out when Wolverines won the national championship in football, Fab Five back in the day. And my sister, this freaking girl, love her to death, but she loses the Jewish star. And I said, "You give me fucking dad's necklace right now, like just." And I've been rocking it ever since. And I don't really like rock the Heat thing. It'd be like weird that I don't play for the Heat, you know. But so I rocked the necklace in his honor. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll get a Jewish star. Maybe not as big as you. Respect to you rocking the thing.
Diamonds from Jerusalem, my guy.
Yeah. But I'm a big advocate, believer in legacy and tradition and family tree and respecting where you came from, good, bad, or ugly. We all came from somebody.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was my dad.
Yeah. When you mentioned something also when you were just talking about the different emotions and the different spectrum, and you said that you haven't reached a place of peace yet. I'm curious to know, what do you think is preventing you from experiencing peace?
So, you know, peace. What is peace? You know, emotionally peace, financially peace, socially at peace. I think, you know, everyone's like, I just want to be happy. I want to be every girl I talk to. What do you want? I just want to be happy. I want to be happy. I said, what's happiness?
Yeah.
I don't know, just happy. I'm like, well, define happiness. And rarely can someone, I just want to, you know, do what I want to do. I'm like, okay. So I would define happiness as having meaning and purpose in your life and not just talking about it, being about it. So for you, as a microdosing mentor, what is it? You know, right. You find meaning and purpose in actively doing what you want to be doing and accomplishing it. You know, like if you talk to anyone who's ever made it in life, you know, an actor who wins the Oscars or an NBA player that wins the championship, whatever it is, they're never like, this is the best moment of my life. They always say it's all about the journey.
Yeah.
And going through it and losing the game and then winning the night. Like that journey is what I think gives you meaning and purpose. So I'm on that journey right now. And I think, you know, Elon Musk said something very important. I think he says a lot of things that are very important. He was on Bill Maher and they said, you know, you're the richest guy in the world. You've made your billions. You know, you've got a dozen kids, this many women, whatever. He goes, can you be happy just working? Because he's like, I work like 20-hour days, basically. He's like, I think you can be 50% happy, but the other 50% of happiness comes from love and family. And, you know, everyone's very obsessed with work-life balance these days. And I'm an 80-20 guy, which is 80% work, 20% lifestyle. Like I'm work 24/7 and then, you know, have some fun and kick it with Jeremy every once in a while, but constantly working. But I think for me, the next chapter is finding the peace, the happiness is ultimately that family component. And, you know, the good thing of where I'm at, I'm not going to settle. You know, I'm not, you know. So life's a journey, bro. And just trying to find that component. And even when you find it, it's not like, all right, happiness, I got it. That's going to take work.
For sure.
So it's constantly a state of progress and constantly a state of improvement. One of the things that we say, the 4 tenets are outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast. Life is all about outlasting. And if you're outworking and if you're out-improving and you're strategizing and out-strategizing, you're inevitably going to outlast, whether it's the competition or whether it's the bad times. And outlasting is what it's all about.
Yeah. By the way, I fuck with you that much more because you're a Seinfeld guy.
Love Seinfeld.
Bro, fucking the best. And like, I feel like that generation, people either went the Seinfeld route or the Friends route.
Yeah.
And it's like, Friends is just on such a different level. Like Seinfeld is just one of the most brilliantly articulated shows. Like Larry David's a fucking genius, bro.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is incredible. I liked Friends. I liked Joey. You would have been more of like a
Don't say.
who was David Schwimmer in that thing? Ross. You would have been more of a Ross because you're in touch with your emotions.
Yeah, bro, but I'm
a Joey. I'm a Joey. You think you're a Chandler?
No, you're
not a Joey, bro.
No, I'm not.
What are you?
ODing on ketamine and.
You're a Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel's. no, but I think it's a beautiful transition actually to speak about masculinity.
Okay.
Right, because in the last decade, it's been very interesting to see what's happened in terms of the spectrum of genders in America. First of all, now there's how many? Like 27 different genders.
I lost count.
Exactly. Yeah. And
by the way, for this interview, I'm a woman. Just so you know, just for this interview.
What would your woman name be?
Yeah, I should probably know that as a woman.
Yeah, you gotta get your shit dialed down.
I see. That's it. I'm not a woman. That's it. It's like you gotta have a name ready to go. I failed. Guess I'm a dude.
Listen, so the last 10 years have been really interesting.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, we have society, culture trying to demonize masculinity. And then on the other hand, we have modern day feminism, which is actually like destroying the health of women. And it's really interesting because I think there's so much confusion in this area. Like men aren't really sure, like, hey, am I able to do this or am I going to be called toxic? Yeah. And then women have been programmed and trained to be like this bad boss bitch, independent, I don't need no man, right? And it's like, as men, I think we're programmed to actually want to provide and protect our women. So it's this really interesting duality that I think is happening. And when you mentioned to me like, oh, you're Ross, like I know you're fucking with me and like you're attached. And I think masculinity is like this all-encompassing approach of like being tapped into your emotions, because I think that's important. And it's like being on top of your shit, like being able to provide and protect physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, like, and show up in that way. And most importantly, like provide the safety for the women in our lives. Yeah. That's what I think masculinity is all about. And I feel like there's just so much confusion right now. And I'd love your take on what do you think it means to be a man in 2024?
Well, what is a man? What is a woman?
Let's start there. That's a great place to start.
Well, this is a conversation that I've been having for the last few years because it is super important. I would argue that it's probably the most important conversation that's going on in America, possibly even the world today. What do you mean? How could this be the most important conversation? Well, we're in political season right now. This is the widest margin that two candidates, if you look at the polling between men and women, men are wildly breaking towards Trump and women are wildly breaking towards Kamala. So why is that? What's going on here? Is it Republicans, is it Democrats, is it blacks, is it whites, is it Jews, is it Muslims? A lot of it comes down to the difference between men and women. If you ask a man, what are the most important things that the country is facing right now? Oftentimes they will say, well, the economy, inflation, the border, it's pretty crazy. The wars, Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, what's going on, And if you ask women, it's abortion. They're not letting us have abortions. It's like, well, I mean, I get it. Like, that's pretty important. But is that the most important thing our country could possibly going through right now? They were at the DNC and this like very sassy gay guy is going around interviewing a guy who's amazing. And he goes, hey, question for you, to this girl. And he goes, so if you can only pick one, what's more important, democracy or abortion? She's like, oh, this is a tough one. I mean, democracy is important, but abortion is, I'm going to go with abortion. He's like, okay. So there's a conflict here where in America, we're actually not having enough babies. We need people to actually not have as many abortions. So, okay, that's one thing. But, okay, toxic masculinity, and you also hear the conversation, the feminization of men or the wussification of men. Men aren't men anymore. right? Testosterone levels are dropping 1% every year for the last 40 years. You know, Gen Z kids, I think it's the highest likelihood of all time that they're identifying as LGBTQ, Gen Z. 20% of Gen Z is well, historically it's, you know, only a couple percentage are LGBTQ, you know, like 2%, 5%, whatever, 1%. How the hell is it 20%? What the hell is going on with these young people? Now, they don't break it down to men and women because I think overall women are a lot more willing to, I'm fluid. But so what is going on with men? For me, it comes down to three things to be a man. I like to abide by the rule of three, and I call it the 3 Ps. And this is something that has existed for tens of thousands of years and will never cease to exist, if you ask me. And the 3 Ps are the following: being a provider, being a protector, and then here's the challenging one for a guy, being present for your woman. And I'm not talking about buying presents, but like being there, because women are very emotional creatures. And if at any time that someone sees a clip of me, they're going to sound that like, Adam really doesn't like, I love women. I want the best for women. I don't want to see gorgeous girls that I've grown up with are now 40 and still single. How the hell did this happen? You had guys knocking down your door for decades and you're single? So, you know, and it's different. Men and women are on different timetables. You know, you play golf?
A little bit.
Okay.
I hit the driving range. I'm more of a basketball tennis guy.
Okay, we can shoot some hoops and play some tennis. I'm down for that. But what's more important in golf, the short game or the long game?
Short game.
Is it?
Is it more important?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't play golf, but I'll tell you that there's the short game and the long game. And here we go.
Real quick, just because so many of you have been asking me about microdosing, I wanted to let you know that we just launched a very special opportunity for you to start your microdosing journey for just $222 per month. This includes the microdoses being shipped to you, and it also includes live coaching with me every single week and access to the best content that's going to help you defeat your anxiety, defeat your ADHD naturally, and escape big pharma forever. So if you are ready to tap in to deeper levels of focus, flow state, and presence, this is your sign to start your microdosing journey today. There's no long-term commitment. You can literally try it for 30 days and witness how your life transforms. Now, let's get back to the show.
So for men, you need to be playing the long game. Because as a 20-year-old man, you ain't shit, bruh. As a 25, like nobody cares unless you've made money, unless you've done something, unless you've accomplished something. You're nothing, and embrace it and get better and improve. Now, you could be a 20-year-old girl, 21 for the sake of this conversation, and you can literally have whatever you want in the world if you play your cards right. So men are playing the long game, you know, the driver. Women are playing the short game. I'm sorry, unless you can have babies after 40, you're kind of limited in terms of having a family and, you know, sustainability of life. As a man, you can get married today, Jeremy, at 34. You can wait another 10 years and be 44. Have a family. There's no difference. So as a man, you have to understand that some things will never go out of style, bro. Provider, protector, and being present, being a provider. I don't care how big of a boss babe a girl is, her pussy will dry up if you try to split the check on the first date. Nah, she's still gonna want you to pay. Oh, you're a boss babe. Hey, someone broke in the house. Yeah, honey, I'll take care of this one. Okay, thanks, honey. The girl ain't going. So it's always, you know, women want to be boss babes and they want to be feminists until the bill comes, until some drama shows up. So as a man, you have to understand, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. And as a man, it's very important to understand that nobody cares about you, bro. Nobody cares about your problems. Nobody, you know, especially don't be crying to your girl. So you need to CPR, consistent, persistent, resilient, go through some shit. You know, so I've been punched in the face, mouth, stomach, too many times to count. It's always a guy who's never been punched in the face that has the loudest fucking mouth. You ever notice that? Because if you've been punched in the face before, you kind of know your limits. And like, you play basketball, right?
Yeah.
On the court, like I was all county basketball. I played football in college. I played some ball in college. Like, I know who I could talk shit to on the court and who I should probably shut my mouth.
Yeah.
But these days on social media, you have all these, what does Drake call it?
Keyboard warriors?
Keyboard warriors, or Twitter warriors, or, you know, trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers, that whole deal.
Yeah.
And you feel very comfortable talking that shit to people online. You ever see the situation where the guy felt a little too comfortable talking shit to Mike Tyson on a flight? Mike Tyson turned around and bit this dude's face off, like punch. So men have to understand, social media has kind of fucked it up for men these days. You know, things are different with men these days. I remember in the 90s, if I saw some dude walking down the street and he was tatted up, dude, I walked on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Because this guy was probably part of a biker gang. Like, this guy will whoop your ass. In the 90s, tatted up like that. Now, I see gay dudes tatted up because it's artistic. It's like, things have changed a little bit.
Things have definitely changed.
But, you know, if you ever ask a woman truly, you know, who's in her, wants to be in her feminine energy, they'll tell you they'll be real with you, Jeremy, and they'll say the following. I want a man. I want a man who's can take care of me. I want a man to approach me. I don't want to be. There's so many girls that I talk to, because, you know, on my show I do all these panels with girls and guys and and I often hear the following phrase, and I never hear it from men. I only hear it from women, and they go, you know, I find myself in my masculine energy from time to time. I caught myself in my masculine. I don't know. I didn't like this masculine. I was like, what does that mean? You're in your masculine? Because I never wake up and I'm like, I'm in my feminine today. Maybe I want to go put a tampon in. I don't know. Maybe I'm a dude. I'm going to be a dude. I'm going to act like a dude. I'm going to go through the progression. You know, in life, there is a progression of a man. I say you have to be a boy, then you have to become a fuck boy, and then you have to become a fuck man, and then you have to just become a man. Right? The girls, they don't want to be with the fuck boys anymore. It's like, yeah, you do, until they fuck you over. But women, listen, being feminine and lovely and beautiful and having inner and outer beauty for ladies will never go out of style. And, you know, I had a very sort of public feud with Chelsea Handler. You know who Chelsea Handler is?
Yeah.
So she reacted to a video I did about, did you ever hear about this? You know about this?
No.
Okay. So there was an article that came out in like 2019, 2020, something like that, it was from Morgan Stanley. Pretty credible financial institution, right? And it was called the She-conomy, not the economy, but the She-conomy. And it basically highlights the fact that by 2030, which is in 5 years from now, 45% of women, which is basically half of all women, ages 25 to 45, working women, will be not married, single, no kids.
Wow.
And that's the highest ever on record, because women are so focused on their career, they're so focused on their accomplishments, they're going to college, that they look back and they're 35 and they go, what the fuck? How am I not married? What just happened here? And I said, if you think that's what's going to make you happy, in my humble opinion, I think you're wrong. If you never want to have kids, you never want to have a family, you never want to be married, then God bless. But if you're on the fence, I'm telling you, you're not going to want to be alone in 55, ladies. So she reacts to this because she's alone in 50. This fucking guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. Take it from a real alpha. And I respond, I go, Chelsea Handler, no dude wants an alpha female. No one wants the chick running the show unless he's a beta dude. And I said, no wonder that Bobby Flay and Joe Coy and 50 Cent hit it and quit it.
50 Cent fuck Chelsea Handler?
Yeah, big time.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yes. People are saying. And I said, and by the way, do you, Chelsea? That's great. I don't care what she does, but her messaging to other women are, follow my path. You don't need a man. It's like, that's great when you have tens of millions in the bank and you're making money by saying this nonsense. Talk to the girl that makes 50 grand a year, who's a secretary, who's 42 and crying herself to sleep because she'd listened to your dumbass. That's the biggest problem. So I think, you know, the world is a little in a disarray right now. Chaos is here. So there's equilibrium is the world is looking for equilibrium, and the world will find equilibrium. And there's corrections that need to be made, but then there's overcorrections. So if you look at feminism, correction, but now there needs to be an overcorrection. Women need to get it back to this. And there's constantly these other, whether it's politically, whether it's racially, whether it's patriarchy, matriarchy, there's all these corrections that were needed in many cases, but then they take it a little too far. And now we need to bring the pendulum back. Fact. Why do you think that Trump, it has such a compelling argument in 2024, and he was vilified in 2016 and 2020? Because the world has changed so much that now Trump is the sane one. And the Democrats who are out there basically saying you could be a man, a woman, you could be gender, they're the crazy ones now. When in 2016, 2020, he was the crazy one.
Yeah.
So the world is in need of a correction, and the equilibrium will play out.
All right, let's summarize some of the shit you just said, because I think this is really valuable, and I want to piggyback off of it. So you said the 3 P's of being a strong masculine.
Being a man.
Provider.
Yep.
Physically.
Protector.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Protector.
Yeah.
Being fully present.
Present, yeah.
And then I would add 1 P, which is be purpose. Like, I think if a dude lacks purpose and
I'm with you, I like that.
Doesn't have clarity on his vision, he's a dangerous man.
Yeah.
Because that is when you're going to really just resort to toxic, harmful habits. So I think one of the most important things like any man can do is really cultivate clarity with what you're passionate about, what the contribution you want to make to humanity is, be in service and be in purpose. And at the end of the day, there's very few things that are more attractive to a woman than a man that is living in his purpose.
Yeah, ambition.
That is
women are completely
focused
attracted.
as fuck.
Yeah.
That's attractive.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. And I think those 4 P's, we might have to merge.
Dude, I'm all about throwing that 4th P in there. Get more P for the roast. You down with OPP?
OPP? What's OPP?
Yeah, you know me. You don't know OPP?
No.
Jeremy, where'd you grow up?
The Bay Area, San Francisco.
You don't know about Naughty by Nature, down with OPP?
No. Wait, is that a song or an artist?
Oh my God. I mean, you don't know OPP? This is one of the biggest hip hop songs in the 90s.
Okay, I probably heard it then.
Okay.
I probably
You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with OPP? I don't know if you're down with OPP. I don't know.
Anyways, so piggybacking off of that, also talking about just to clarify as well with masculine, feminine energy.
Sure.
Like we all have both within us, and it's just the yin and yang. Like masculine energy is decisiveness, taking initiative, taking action, right? And the more feminine energy is like the emotions, is feeling, surrendering, trusting.
Yeah.
So when you have a woman, and you can feel this shit, bro, you've probably experienced it before, you know, there could be a very physically attractive woman, but if she's very in her masculine energy, energetically, it's repellent, right? And I think it's the responsibility for the man to actually provide that layer of safety for the woman in his life so she can actually exhale, breathe, relax, and step more into her feminine and understand like, oh shit, I can actually trust this man.
Yeah.
He can provide, he can protect, he's going to be fully present. He's living on purpose. So,
I have a great story about that, by the way.
Which one?
Just what you just said is very important because, look, clarity, when we started this conversation, you said, you know, do you want to have a family? You want to have kids? And I said, the number one thing that I'm looking for is clarity, and I have clarity. And I would say that the number one thing that we all need is clarity, and clarity takes time. What are you getting clear on? So, you know, I ask the question all the time, who has it harder these days, men or women? What do you think?
I think I still would not trade places with a woman. I just think like
No
with
doubt.
what they have to deal with in their body, if they actually choose the route in terms of like hormones, periods, birth control, getting pregnant, like all the beauty standards and the toxic makeup and shit, I think men have it easier.
I don't disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Because clarity, men have a higher likelihood these days of having clarity. Why? As a man, you know what you need to do. It's not easy. You need to get out there, get your ass to work, outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast, make your money, look your best, feel your best, act your best, get to fucking work. Nobody's gonna feel bad for you. But as a woman, clarity, should I go to college? Should I get a career? Should I try to be a wife? Should I try to be a mom? What happens if I go to college and get a career and make all this money? Well, based on hypergamy, my dating pool shrinks. And now maybe, you know, there's only a few percentage of men. All right, cool. But that's also going to take time. So now if I focus on my career and I'm not focusing on life and love and family, by the time I'm looking to get around to having kids, maybe I'm 30 and God forbid I'd end up in a 3-4 year relationship. Next thing you know, I'm 35, boom. I don't know what's going to happen there. Or, all right, I'm going to be a loving wife and I'm going to take care of the kids. And all right, I gave my life to this. And then something happens where the guy takes a fucking bachelor trip to Vegas and, you know, who knows what he did with the stripper. You get mad, you divorce him, blah, 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 blah. And now you're 32, you got 2 kids, you're single. And you're like, is this what I wanted for my life? It's very unclear as a woman. As a man, but, you know, we won't get into the court system as a man, but it's very confusing right now. And I think conversations like this will help give people clarity on what to do. But the reason I brought up this story is when I was doing these shows that I do where I have men and women talk and relationships and intersexual dynamics. This one girl, Rebecca, she's actually a big YouTuber, Rebecca Barrett. She said, I was a feminist. I shaved my head. I wore the whole pussy hat, vagina hat. I was marching, you know, Me Too movement. I was in DC. I was there for it. And I was starting my own company. And I woke up one day and I was 30 years old and I just started crying. Because I said, what am I doing all this for? Building this business, being a boss babe, for what? Why am I doing this? And she says, I completely reversed course. I met my husband, his name is James, great people. And this was the most memorable thing, and probably in all the shows I've done in this category. She goes, once I met him and I got to go in my feminine, you know what I did? Thank God.
Exactly, bro.
And now she's a mother and she's a wife and they're great and they're doing amazing. And she's in her feminine and he's a masculine and they just but it's stories like that that made me realize this is what women are going through. They're working, they're strategizing, they're trying to make their company and like, what are you doing it for? And that's the few who are making the company, building the company, the CEO. If you're the girl that's making 60 grand a year to build someone else's company and you're helping other people, but you're not helping yourself, you don't have a man. It's like, and then you hear women, well, I don't want to listen to anybody. I don't want to, you know, take orders from anybody. It's like, bitch, you're taking orders from your boss at work. So you're more comfortable taking orders from your boss or your manager at work than your husband. Tell me how that makes sense. Do you want to be the leader in your relationship or you want the man to be the leader? No, I want the man to be the leader. So how do those two things make sense? Yeah. So women are very confused right now. And I feel like I'm going to go hang out some friends later and they go, oh, so-and-so's coming. I go, she's coming. Why? What's she up to? Oh, she's still single? She was like the hottest. How? She's like 43, 44. What? And because women sometimes these days, social media, partying, yachts, boats, Miami, Dubai, Monaco, blah, you're 30 or 40. And now, here's the problem. Now there's a 20-year-old that's going to take your place. Now there's a 26-year-old that's going to take your place. Yeah. Now your hots, your looks aren't exactly there anymore. And as we know, men aren't really looking for women to be the provider and women aren't looking to be the provider. So it's a very confusing time. And I just think that we need to set the record straight that men need to be men, women need to be women. That doesn't mean women can't work and have purpose, but the family unit is the most important thing in the world. Yeah. And there's way more single people, and I'm single, I get it, but I know what I'm solving for. Yeah. And there's a big difference between a 40-year-old guy being single and a 40-year-old woman being single. It's actually night and day.
Yeah.
Because a 40-year-old guy is, if he's got his shit together, dude, he could do whatever he wants. 40-year-old woman,
it's crazy.
Good luck, mamacita.
It's crazy how they're really trying to destroy the family dynamic in America.
Yes. Marxism, they say.
And, you know, I can speak on my experience. Like, they talk a lot about white privilege, especially the woke left. They talk about white privilege and all these things. And I say the biggest privilege that I was gifted was being born to two loving parents. Like being born in
America.
In America. Being born to two loving parents who are still together, and having that nurturing, loving energy from my mom, and having my dad like teaching me tough love, hard work, and real values and morals. Like, when you combine that, that's the greatest gift you can give a kid. But we're growing up in a place now in America where, what's the divorce percentage? 58%. You're having all of these single moms, and there's just so much chaos in the family dynamic right now. And that's leading to a lot of confusion for kids. And it's like, and then we can get into what they're doing to children in America. They're giving 7-year-olds Adderall. They just made it okay.
They're giving them sex changes.
Like, think about
getting hormone blockers and puberty blockers.
This is like the ultimate demonic agenda from the left and the wokeness is you're allowing doctors to give 7-year-olds Adderall that absolutely destroys their brain and their dopamine centers. You're allowing them to take Ozempic as a 6-year-old rather than just teaching them.
They're giving Ozempic to kids?
Yeah. Rather than just teaching.
Ozempic. Fucking that tune is so catchy, but it's so bad for them.
Rather than fucking teaching kids how to like eat healthy and move their bodies. Remember when we had PE in school?
Oh, yeah.
Recess? Like, what the fuck happened? So this demonic agenda of trying to confuse children about their gender, about prescribing them methamphetamines, saying that it's completely okay to take Ozempic if you're a little overweight as a 6-year-old. Like, this is why the future of our country is declining. Yeah. It's because they're attacking the children, they're attacking the family dynamic. And that's why it's so important that we bring this shit back, and that as men, we're grounded in our masculine, providing for our partner, for our children, with our presence, with our purpose, and all of these things that we've spoken about. That's really what's going to save us.
Jeremy, well said. And that's one of the biggest problems, again, with the men, the women, isn't that? We've used the word clarity probably 20 times this conversation. What's the opposite of clarity?
Confusion.
Confused. There's so many people that are confused right now. Yeah. What's my role? What should I be doing? I'm a man, I'm a woman. I don't know where my role here. And kids, so this is what, you know who I put the blame on? The parents. Oh, just play on the iPad. Oh, play video games, eat junk food. It's like, oh, no. I'm not a parent, but I help my sister raise my nephew. If I wasn't in this kid's life, and his parents are doing great, my sister and my brother-in-law, but they don't, I'm gonna give you some stats in a second right now. They don't give him like the tough, they'll like, he fell down and start crying. And they're just like, I'm like, why the fuck are you crying? My knee hurts. I'm like, who cares? You're a boy, get up.
How old is he?
He's 11. But I've been, there's little things out there that I have to remind him. I said, toughen up, kid. Life's not easy out there, guy. And are you going to be the kid that cries every time that something goes wrong? No. Enough. I go, here's when you can cry. When you're really hurt and you're really in pain, let it rip. But if you're just crying because, someone took your video game, dude, I'm going to throw out all your fucking video games. Let's see how you feel. But because it ain't easy out there, buddy. So those are conversations with boys that probably need to be had. And it's very important that young men and young women have a father figure in their life. What's the number one joke they say about men? What's the number one role as a father? Keep your daughter off the pole. So, the stats you said about the family unit, which is so important, because we're doing a lot of amazing things here in America, but we're not doing good when it comes to family. There was a Wall Street Journal article out that came out about a year ago about the decline in traditional values, decline in the family unit, decline in religion, decline in community involvement. and decline in community involvement, religion, family unit, having kids, that whole thing. And the only thing that increased was wanting money. All right, great. I mean, we're in a capitalist society. That's fine. But everything else declined significantly because being selfless, community involvement, going to church, having a family has now turned into selfie time, self-ish. And you look at the stats, ever since after JFK, so this would have been 1963-ish, after he got elected and he got shot, bang, bang, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, took over and he created what is called the Great Society. Do you know what he did then? So he basically created the welfare state, where a woman no longer needed to have a man in the house. She could rely on the government. And, you know, what did Ronald Reagan say? What's the scariest things you could possibly hear? I'm here from the government. I'm here to help. No, the government, you want to keep the government out of your life. But ever since then, the two-parent household system that has kept America intact has crumbled. So now, I think it was literally, I could be wrong, fact check it, 90+% of families were two-parent household prior to the Great Society by Lyndon Baines Johnson. It might even been 95%. Now,
wow.
And the stats are crazy. I think for black kids, 75% are born out of wedlock. In Latinos, it's, I think, 50%. Whites, it's lower than Latinos, but more and more and more, I wish I had the exact stats. We can find it. I think 25%, I think only 25% are born to two-parent household.
I need to get a Rob.
We'll get that. But here's the point.
Yeah.
So, okay, great. Because shout out to the single moms, right? The single moms get a lot of love. Single mom. You know, shout out to my mom, you know, Kevin Durant, LeBron, shout out to my mom. Respect. It's not easy being a single mom. Totally get it. But what happens when you're the child of a single mother? The stats aren't pretty, bro. So they say that, you know, you gave a very eloquent explanation about the greatest thing you could possibly have is being in a two-parent household. I lived in an abusive two-parent household, and I'll still say, yeah, I'd rather have my dad kicking the shit out of me every day than my dad not there. Okay, great, because he teaches you, you know, some rules right there. But they said that the best outcome for a kid is two-parent household. But if you take the father out of the household, right, and it's just a single mother, the stats, they look very ugly. You're way more likely to drop out of school. You're way more likely to use drugs. You're way more likely to run away. You're way more likely to have suicide rates. You're way more likely to be this, that, the other. 3x, 5x, 10x. It's crazy, the stats. Interesting. But take the mother out of the household and just the father. You don't see a lot of single fathers out there. You know what happens to the stats? Exactly the same as a two-parent household.
Really?
Crazy, right? What does that mean? Holy shit. Dad's got a pretty big role here. We understand the role that moms play. Nurturers, lovers. You can do anything you want. I believe in you. Here's a hug. That's great. But dad needs to come in and be like, what's going on around here? Clean it up. Do your homework. Don't make me, boy. Like, it'll teach men structure and discipline. And it'll teach women, hey, guy, this is what a good guy is. The number one issue we see running around here in Miami are girls with daddy issues. They don't have a male role model in their life, so they act a fool. Show me a girl with a good father who had a good upbringing, wifey material. Show me a girl with no father, it's like OnlyFans, stripper, dirty ass hoe. You know, fun for now, but not here for later in terms of marriage. So you hit the nail on the head, so to speak, the two-parent household. So for me, what am I gonna say? You know, let's hone in on this, because I know we're kind of summarizing. If and when I get married, I'm gonna have a conversation with my woman, and I'm gonna say the following: I love you. Do you love me? We love each other. Amazing. The number one reason I'm getting married to you is because I love you, but more than that is because I want to have a family with you. if you don't want to have kids, I'll love you, but I'm not going to spend the rest of my life just me and you. Like, at that point, I'll just go live the bachelor life and be George Clooney until I'm 60 something. So if we're doing this, it's because we're doing this. But here's what's going to happen. I don't want one kid. I want a family. I want to do this thing. I want a bunch of little Sosnicks running around here. But here's the thing. I'm never going to cheat on you. I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm going to do. But I'm letting you know right now, I'm not a 9-to-5 guy. I'm not going to be home for dinner every night. I'm going to be doing things because I'm ambitious and I got big goals and big dreams. And you're either going to be with me along for the ride so we can help our family, or you're going to be nagging where I'm at because I'm at an 8 o'clock business dinner or I'm on a road trip, whatever it is. And if that's who you are, this is never going to work. So let's set expectations. Are we good? Are we good? What are your expectations? What do you want from me? What are your non-negotiables? That's a whole 101 questions to ask before you're engaged. But if you set that precedent, you think marriage is easy? You think having kids is easy? You know, my number one thing that I have right now is at least perspective. All my best friends are married with kids. So you know what I ask all my friends? Hey bro, listen, guys and girls, give me the good, the bad, the ugly of marriage and kids. I want it all. You want to hear? Oh, I want it. Like, dude, this, that. Like, I hear the answers. My favorite answer, a guy goes, favorite thing, the good. My wife, she's always there. Anytime I need her, she's always there. The bad, my wife, she's always there. Right? Like, oh my, can I just get a minute? So, establishing expectations, having clarity, and making sure that you're on the same page is so important up front. You with me? I'm with you. You're with me. I'm with you. All right, let's go. Let's roll. And I think that's super important. A lot of people aren't doing that right now.
The clarity and communication's everything. I've learned that the hard way. That's probably been the biggest challenge. The biggest mistakes I've made when working or when navigating, the biggest mistakes I've made when navigating with women in the past is resorting to like people-pleasing tendencies and not wanting to hurt them. And let's say we hook up early on, first, second, third time hanging out. And I know at the end of the day, like, this isn't my person, right?
Okay.
Like, I really should communicate and let them know where I'm at just to set expectations and not to cause any more emotional pain on their behalf. You know what I'm saying? And like being clear with that. And I realized, like, as I've stepped into more radical honesty, most women really fucking appreciate that. You know, like, even if it's something they don't want to hear in the present moment, they understand most of the time that the intention is actually to reduce harm in the long term, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you often hear that women want to be, even if it hurts them, they want to know the truth. Now, we'll see if that's true or not, but that is a big thing, communicating and upfront, being honest with your intentions. Women say that. I don't know if they actually want that, but they say that. So
that's been my experience the last couple of years. Yeah. What is a couple other things, by the way, just closing the loop of like masculine, feminine type shit. A couple really interesting and alarming stats. One of them is that over 25% of men under the age of 40 are suffering with erectile dysfunction.
Really?
Yeah. So this is,
25% of men under 40?
So 25% of men under 40 in the United States is suffering with erectile dysfunction, literally unable to get erect and show up in that way. Now, I think there's many reasons for this, right? There's poor lifestyle. You're eating like shit. You're sleeping like shit. You're drinking alcohol. You're drinking from plastic. It's destroying your hormones. And porn is fucking destroying men's brains.
Yeah.
Right? Because like when you're constantly consuming porn and watching strangers have sex on a screen, you are, first of all, just like setting these unrealistic and disgusting expectations as to what like sex really is.
Yeah, of course.
And you're fucking with your dopamine centers. Like if you look at brain scans of someone who regularly uses heroin, they're almost identical to someone who watches porn every day.
Wow.
Because they're activating this part of the brain, the frontal lobe, like where our dopamine centers is. And it's fucking so accessible, bro.
That's the key word right there.
That's like, and I know Pat recently interviewed like the founder, the CEO of Pornhub, right? I listened to that. But at the end of the day, if I really wanted to destroy a country, if I really wanted to take down a civilization, what would I do? All right, let's
destroy the men.
Let's see. I would confuse people about their gender. I would feed people processed poison. I would put fluoride in tap water. I would make porn and alcohol easily accessible for everyone.
For sure.
And I would really destroy the family dynamic.
That's the playbook.
Exactly. And I would have Big Pharma basically
it'd be crazy if it wasn't true.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have Big Pharma run everything. I would hand out antidepressants and Adderall like it's fucking candy on Halloween. And then you look at the current situation in America, bro, and it's like, what? Like those are all universal truths happening right now.
The accessibility thing is a big deal because, look, growing up in the 90s, as a 13-year-old kid, let's say, you're going to wake up, what's this? What's going on here? Maybe it happens in class. Yeah, we all know the movie. You put it in the tent. We all know what's going on here, right?
It's the worst.
Kyle, you know what I'm talking about. So, okay, that's a great thing because, life kind of happens when, but I remember getting like a Playboy magazine. Oh my God, fucking Playboy. And then it was Penthouse or Hustler. And it was like, this is insane. But these are magazines. Then it turned into videotapes and DVDs. But as a obnoxious 15-year-old boy, as boys do, yo, bro, you see the girl, the tits, and that, like, that's what guys do. Guys like pretty girls, like, and we're gonna, the porn industry. But now, whatever sick, twisted fantasy, or even if you're a meat and potatoes guy and it turns into, a gateway drug, say marijuana is a gateway drug or a cigarette, and all of a sudden you're doing heroin, it's like, I just want to watch people like sex. Now you're watching gangbang, like, click. So kids these days have no clue. They think that Amazon click shows up, YouPorn, what's it, Pornhub, click, Instacart, click. This instant gratification we're not hardwired for that. Good things take time.
Yeah.
So, I want to go get a girl. I want to meet a girlfriend. Well, you used to have to go down to the bar. You have to like look good, smell good, go talk, spit game. Maybe I'm just going to order a girl on Tinder right now. All right. And she'll be here in 20 minutes. Like, this is not anything we're accustomed to. So that no wonder Gen Z, who's the first generation to like grow up with this in their hand, is confused. They think that, this microwave culture, you just microwave success. You just microwave and a girl shows up. Boom, Amazon, boom. Porn, it doesn't work that way. So whether it's porn or whatever it is, this instant gratification lifestyle is not sustainable.
It's fucked. What do you think it is about the way that you show up? Like whether it's qualities you have or the way that you just consistently show up in your work ethic. What do you think it is that inspired PBD to like really bring you on board and build this empire together? Like what is it, and how did you show up in a way, that could catch his attention? Because like you said, there's obviously a lot of opportunities, a lot of people out there. Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious if you could like self-analyze and reverse engineer almost like what your approach was and some of the things that you think make you unique to be put in that position.
Yeah. I get that question a lot and I reflect on it a lot because I truly think that Pat, who just turned 46 today, is destined to be a billionaire, and he's going to be one of the biggest names on the planet because we're going on a 40-year run and he's not stopping, and he's got a huge vision, and he's going to be a household name in no time if he's not already. And I'm more than happy to be a running mate, sidekick, whatever you want to call it. So everything in life for a man, again, I have this big rule of 3. You've noticed, like 3 things here, 3 things here. And I call it the 3 R's. And that's relationships, reputation, and revenue. And no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter field you're in, remember these 3 R's. Relationships are the key to life. Whether it's family, friends, colleagues, whatever it is, whether it's partnerships, whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships, you know, all these ships. If you don't have any of that, then your ship is sailing, buddy. So, you know, I met Pat working out in the gym at a financial conference in 2012. We were just like, you know how we met? Like we were, the first time I even met you was at the Standard,
sauna.
right?
Yeah.
The sauna and like the cold room or some shit. And then it turned out you were friends with Dustin, yada, yada, yada. And you see how it evolved right now. Like I didn't know you. And, you know, 2 years later, now I'm doing a podcast with you. And then I saw you at Shabbat. And then I saw, you know, at Soho House, we hung out. That's relationships. And at no point did you like, you know, screw me over, me screw you over. It's just,
yeah.
So the relationships are important. And that you know, even when you came in here, you're like, dude, it's crazy. You're still friends with all these guys you went to high school. And I'm like, yeah. Because I'm a relationship. I don't collect cards. I don't collect, you know, objects. I collect people. I collect friends. I like friendships. And then the second component of that is reputation. So imagine you meet me. You're like, yo, I met this cool dude, Adam Sosnick. He's great. He's a cool dude. And everyone's like, Sosnick? Piece of shit, bro. Yeah. Everyone knows that. And ask anybody, what? So that's something I take it's so important to me. Because if you go around in Miami, you know, maybe there's a couple girls out there that don't like me, but the vast majority of people are like, love Adam, that's my guy. I've known him forever. He's my guy, whatever. You know, obviously you're going to bring a couple hearts, whatever. But for the most part, I think I have a very stellar reputation. And then the last R is revenue. Show me someone who is broke and making a massive difference. You know, maybe Gandhi, I don't know, Mother Teresa. But unless you're putting points on the scoreboard in the bank account, not many people are going to follow you. So I met Pat in 2012 and we start a relationship. You know, we meet at this financial conference. We become like, literally how we met at random time. And we've known each other, what, 2 years now, maybe, whatever it is.
If that.
Maybe longer than shorter. Whatever it was. I met Pat in 2012. I didn't start working with him officially till 2020. So it was 8 years of relationship building. You know, you say, you know, it's microwave culture and I want success now. Took me 8 years to go from random guy you met at the gym at a financial conference to co-host, partner, running mate. But a lot of people don't want to wait that amount of time. But before he hired me, he knew I was good with biz dev relation. Like he's like, you're a fucking incredible networker, biz dev guy. He's like, I would hire you. And told me that the day we met. But even when I started with him, even though me 8 years, he checked references. Hey, I asked people about you. Because we're in the same industry. He's like, I called this person. He goes, everyone had something good to say about you. All right, good. All right, great. Let's make some money. Let's figure this thing out. Let's do this thing. Let's be a running mate. And the most important thing I would say when you're starting an organization and you're being a part of an organization or a company is knowing your role and knowing your place. So I know when I'm building a company, I'm a great number 2. I'm not usually the number 1 guy when it comes to building a company. Yeah. I don't want to be the CEO. I don't want to have that stress, that pressure, the overhead, HR, you're dealing with this, firing, lawsuits. It's heavy as the head that wears the crown. It's not easy. My job as a number 2 or as the role of that is biz dev, operations, making things happen, connectivity. I'm great at that. But the difference is, you know, that's the entrepreneur. I'm an intrapreneur. I'm running a business within a business. You know, if the business fails, that's on the entrepreneur. That's on the CEO. If the business fails, I go get a different job. But that's why they get the big upside. And it's whether you want to have that upside or not. So I've learned my lesson that, you know, if I ever write a book, which I'm working on, we'll think about it, it's going to be like, you know, there's nothing wrong with number 2, you know, because not everybody is cut out to be Michael Jordan or people forget Kobe Bryant was the number 2 to Shaq. Yeah. People forget that. So whether you're Scottie Pippen to MJ or whether you're,
I mean, I'm a big Warriors fan.
Yeah.
And when we brought on KD, right, it was like Steph had to take a back seat. Clay was no longer the 2 option. He was the 3. So everyone,
know your roles.
Everyone had to adjust their role, and they understood like we have this collective vision of winning championships.
Yep.
And in order for that to happen, we have to kind of pivot and shift.
Same thing happened right here in Miami. Is when LeBron and Chris Bosh joined D Wade. Who's number 1? It certainly wasn't Bosh, but it was Miami Heat, Wade County. LeBron shows up, and they lost in the finals their first year. And D Wade had to say, "Listen, LeBron, you're the guy. You're number 1. I'll be number 2." Then they won 2 championships in a row. They didn't win that 3rd one. But knowing your role, and there's nothing wrong with being the number 2 guy. You know who the best number 2 guy of all time is? He's the owner of the LA Clippers, Steve Ballmer. He wasn't the CEO of Microsoft. He wasn't the founder. He was, I think, the number 8 employee. And now he's actually, I think, richer than Bill Gates now, I want to say.
Bill Gates is probably one of the most evil humans in the world.
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Bill Gates is a really dangerous
with
guy.
With
everything he does, bro.
With all the bio and science and everything he's doing with the
I mean, first of all, like
the jabs.
Yeah, the jab. It's very interesting and convenient how a few months before COVID, Netflix pushes out this documentary series about Bill Gates and what a great humanitarian he is, right? First of all, you know he's fucking like, he was best boys with Epstein.
I heard,
right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons Epstein's wife, it's one of the reasons.
You saw that interview with her?
Melinda Gates?
Yeah.
With who?
What she said about Epstein?
No.
Oh, she gave an interview. She's like, I met him and I knew from the get-go there was something off with this guy. Something like she's like, I felt it. Women have spidey senses. I don't know if you know that.
No, they have heightened intuition.
Yeah.
It's one of their gifts. Yeah. So Bill Gates, not only is he boys with fucking Epstein, who knows what he did there? He's one of the reasons like the vaccines got pushed in the way that they did. And now he's pushing lab grown meat.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And like fucking vilifying like real healthy food. And then you look at Bill Gates and the dude has
sloppy,
fucking like double D titties.
Did you see what Elon Musk tweeted about Bill Gates?
No.
You know, there's like the pregnant man emoji.
Yeah.
Wait,
is there actually a pregnant man emoji?
Oh yeah.
It's
Go on your phone right now.
I don't have my phone. Do you have it?
Go on your phone right now and type in, an emoji, pregnant. PREG, just see what pops up. Let me do it on my end as well. This is, talk about kind of putting a rubber stamp on what's going on here. Try to.
Oh my God, there's a pregnant fucking guy emoji.
There it is. You see
That's
it?
disgusting, bro.
And you know what's crazy? Type as emoji, put in family. Just put fam. Blank faces.
God.
Blank faces, right? You see that? By the way, a year or 2 ago, there was actual faces, a man, a woman, a child, 2 kids, 1 kid, a man, a woman and a woman. They don't exist anymore. It's all blank faces. You see that?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of credibility when you talk about what the agenda is. And this is the beauty of podcasts like this is we're not beholden to big pharma or any advertiser or any sponsor or anything like that in this regard, because they don't want people saying this. They want blank faces out here.
I want to.
And they want pregnant men. I just sent you all those emojis.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. That just proves the demonic agenda.
Yeah, there you go.
And I mean,
well, let's wrap up on a happy note.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
No, you go. I'm just because the man in me with the thing that men have.
Yeah.
The penises, it has to take a
The
piss.
Adam's apple.
That too. Yeah.
So, well, I think a good place to conclude is, like you guys always say, the future looks bright.
Yeah.
And, we're about a month away from this election.
2 weeks away, bro.
2 weeks?
Yes.
Holy shit. So we're about 2 weeks away from this election happening.
16 days.
And
You're going to vote for your first time, buddy. Look at this guy.
And I think things are looking better. And one of the things that excites me about Trump most likely becoming the next president, hopefully, is, listen, 95% of the attacks on Trump are about his character, about like he's a bully, he's a thug, he's narcissistic, like all these things, right?
Which sometimes they're true.
Yeah,
like Trump is not perfect.
Oh, by no means.
You very rarely hear criticism of the policies, though.
Exactly.
If that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what excites me most is like RFK enrolling in Trump's vision. Because
you heard about Maha?
Yeah, of course.
Make America healthy again.
And like RFK has dedicated his whole life to like fighting big pharma.
Oh, yeah.
And actually creating more health for America. And like, I think he's the most anti-establishment person. And a lot of shit is going to get exposed. And that's why
I'm excited for that.
That's why the left went above and beyond to just get RFK, like to make sure he had no chance at winning. Right. And him joining Trump, as well as like people like Elon just fully enrolling, I think with that combination of leadership, America's going to be in a much better place. So I think that is exciting. And yeah, bro, I'm really grateful just for the opportunity to drop in with you. I appreciate you coming through.
Let me say one thing about the Trump thing before we just think about how far we've come in less than 10 years. In 2015, he came down that escalator. You know, Mexico, they're not sending their best. There's rapists and there's murderers and there's drug dealers and some are good, I guess. And since that day, he's been vilified. He's been literally shot at twice, multiple times, almost assassinated. He's been, Andrew Tate famously says you get 3 lives. First, they try to cancel you. Then they try to throw you in jail. And the third one is the bullet. They canceled Trump, literally. They tried to throw him in jail, literally. And then they tried to kill the guy, literally. And if it wasn't for this beautiful graph, I love the graph, he said this, we talked to him the other day, he goes, because we were showing him graphs, it saved his life because he looked at the graph. Trump should have been shot in the face and would have been dead right now. So just think of how far we've come, the vilification of this guy. And now, less than 10 years later, all the people that were like, yo, fuck this guy, namely his running mate, JD Vance, right? The names you just named, Elon was not a guy. Joe Rogan was not one of those guys. You can go down the list. RFK, this is the Kennedy family legacy. There's nobody more Democratic Party legacy-wise than the Kennedys.
Yeah.
JFK, RFK, and now RFK Jr. is with Trump. It just goes to show you. Now they'll say, the Republicans have gone a little too extreme, MAGA. Well, what has the Democratic Party done? They've gone from being moderate Bill Clinton to far left woke DEI agenda. So this is the reason why you have a lot of JD Vances, Adam Sosnicks of the world, RFKs of the world, who were clearly not on Team Trump, or how now are his most vocal proponents of getting this man elected. And that's just how I think that if and when Democrats lose, the comma loses, they're going to have to reinvent themselves.
Yeah.
Because this whole, what it comes down to is very simple. It's DEI versus MEI. You familiar with these acronyms?
I know.
DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. I get it.
Merit is the MEI.
M is meritocracy, excellence, and intelligence. We forgot that we're solving for who's the best at their job, who can actually help the company, help the country, help the army, help the people, not, is it a gay, handicapped, trans, black, Latina? Because if not, they don't get the job. What? They're just checking boxes to make people feel good rather than people who actually do the job. So if you're good at your job, the future looks bright. If you're just there because someone needed to hire you, i.e. a Kamala Harris.
No, you didn't.
I did it.
Next thing you're going to do is call her Indian and not black.
Which one is it? I'm not a big fan of the whole race identity politic thing. I don't think that's a winning message. I think if Trump just stays on brand and says, I'm going to create a strong economy, a strong border, and dare I say it, make America great again, I think that's a winning message. So we'll see. By the time this episode is even out,
this is gonna go out soon. A couple weeks.
So we'll see. Prediction.
I really appreciate you though. Thanks for coming through. I'm excited to continue cultivating a friendship together helping you get deeper into that beautiful heart. Adam,
you didn't know I had all this, bro.
There's so much emotion. I felt it coming out today.
Thank you, bro.
The vulnerability was just phenomenal.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, bro. Any final words you want to say?
No, man, this is great. You're a unique guy, man. You know, you're a masculine, but also in touch with his feelings type of dude. So you can do both. You know, I'm not as in tune with the emotions as you, but it's all about learning and improving. We're not striving for perfection. We're striving for progress. And no, it was a great opportunity. And if you want to follow what we're doing, Valuetainment, baby. We're taking over the world.
I need to get my ticket for the November 5th event.
Cool. Come through.
Fuck yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. Much love. Peace. You did it. You made it to the end of the podcast. I am so proud of you for pursuing this path of becoming the best version of yourself. Now, if this episode provided you value, then all I ask is that you share it with a friend and check out some of our other episodes, because my mission is to really bring you the best people in the world so you can become the most elevated version of yourself. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you next time.